Hi, and in this video guide I'd like to go over Mythic Skorpyron. This is a general guide for Retribution Paladin specific guides, which I also do. Have a look at the Nighthold playlist where this video is also to be found. So when it comes to Mythic Skorpyron, there are three new things really to be aware of. The first one is that when he recovers his exoskeleton, he gets a buff, which means he will do an extra 10% more damage. This remains for the whole fight and stacks every time he recovers a new exoskeleton. This is a mechanic designed to get you to kill the boss in a timely manner. Boon of the Skorpid is also a bit more powerful than on Heroic. This time it adds an extra 15% extra damage as it stacks rather than 10%. The second thing is of most concern to most of the raiders. He goes through a cycle of different phases indicated by different colours. The blue crystalline phase is basically the same as on Heroic. However, there are two more. There is a volatile exoskeleton phase which is red and produces red shards. These deal a moderate amount of AoE fire damage. They aren't horrendous to stand near but are best avoided where possible. However, after a shockwave, they will all deal a massive amount of AoE fire damage after 3 seconds. You can easily see the area of effect by the concentric orange circles. Make sure you move to an unaffected area quickly. Often you will find there are only small spaces where you can safely move to. This ability can easily one-shot and is probably the most dangerous mechanic, but also pretty easy to deal with. Finally, there is an acidic exoskeleton, which is green. The acidic fragments during this phase deal nature damage to the raid. In addition, the acid more Skorpid, which is the large Skorpid that comes with Call of the Skorpid. Oh my god, that's a lot of times to say Skorpid in one sentence. But during this phase, it drops a pool of green goo, which deals nature damage if you stand in it. It drops it quite regularly, and when you finally kill this Skorpid, it will drop one more pool for good luck. The pulls themselves last a little under a minute. They're okay. You don't want to be studying them, of course. You can pass through them, and as long as you don't have this thing covering loads of areas, then it's not such a big deal. Just choose a shard to stand behind for shockwave that doesn't have a green pull by it. Now, the third new thing just affects tanks, but also of interest to melee. Tanks hit by the Arcana Slash are tethered, dealing additional arcane damage to them. When the tank breaks free from this tether, it will remain in place for about 15 seconds. If they ever go back within 10 yards of it, they will become re-tethered. Oh no. So to counter this, they're going to need to move between several set positions so that they can break free of it and not have to go back within 10 yards of it each time. For melee, you'll need to be a little bit aware because the tank will have to, of course, change the orientation of where the boss is facing, and you could end up getting cleave if you're not careful. Other than that, the fight is pretty straightforward. However, the usual rules for Mythic mode applies in that the general fight tends to be a bit more brutal than on Heroic, and so you have to be more mindful of mechanics. It might be fun for people to pretend to accidentally get blown back by Shockwave on Heroic and spawn more adds to pad on, but on Mythic this could present a very real risk of wiping, as you have enough to do in killing the boss and the necessary adds in a timely manner as it is. Sometimes there are lots of crystalline fragments up for Shockwave to stand behind, and sometimes not so many. There are times when there is only one, and that might be on the periphery of the combat area. Try to avoid being close enough to pull extra adds in this situation. Remember, it's easy to see if you have the cover of a shard because you get a debuff. The shards don't block line of sight, so you can still attack the boss when behind one as long as you're in range for your own attacks. So that should set you up for Mythic Skorpyron. It is by far the easiest boss on any mode in this dungeon. For Mythic progress, you should be able to kill this within a few pulls as long as everyone knows what to do and nobody tries to sail too close to the wind with certain mechanics. Just deal with the normal Heroic mechanics as you should anyway, with the extra Mythic mechanics, which are pretty straightforward, and you should be able to kill the boss very quickly. So I hope you found this interesting as always. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share for further content. And until next time, I'll see you later.